Good morning. Hi. I'm Alan Nelson.
I'm Dr. Stanfield.
Hello, Dr. Stanfield. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm Clive.
Hello, Clive. Very nice to meet you.
Thank
Alan
you.
Nelson. Please sit down. All right. Gentlemen, my name is Alan, as I've indicated, Alan Nelson, and I'm going to be your mediator today. And it's customary that we address one another informally in mediation, so please call me Alan.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like to be addressed, Clive?
Well, you can call me Clive. I'm happy
Can
with
I
that.
call you
Yes.
Clive? You happy with that? And Dr. Stanfield?
I'm Dr. Stanfield. I've always been Dr. Stanfield. It'd be much more comfortable to be called Dr. Stanfield.
All right. If you prefer it, then that's what we will
Thank
do,
you.
Doctor. That's
Thank
fine. Not a problem. Firstly, gentlemen, let me congratulate you. I don't know if you've been involved in a mediation ever before, but this is a new process that has really started all over the world to become the method of resolving disputes between parties, and I congratulate both of you for deciding to opt for mediation in an attempt to resolve your differences.
I'm not really sure why I'm here, but I'm hearing what you're saying.
That's fine. Clive, thank you. What I'd like to do, perhaps just at the outset, is to set the ground rules, if I may, and that is that during the course of today, what we're going to try and do is, and I know that you have a very difficult dispute. You've sent me some information about that, and I know that there's a lot of unhappiness on both sides here. But I'm going to ask you, please, that during the course of this mediation, if we can agree that, Clive, when you address me or when I speak, that we won't interrupt one another, and Dr. Stanfield, the same from your side?
Yes,
when you speak, then Clive won't interrupt you.
No, that is common courtesy.
You happy with that? So can I have your agreement that that's how we will run
Yes.
the mediation
Yes.
today? Thank you very much. Good. Just very briefly, the process that we will follow is that we will start with an opening session, and during that opening session I will give each of you an opportunity to place your story before me and discuss the problem as you see it, the reason that you are here, with one another. So try to address one another, and please, what I'd also ask is that you listen carefully to what the other party says. After that, we'll go into side sessions, and during that side session, I will also then ask you just to respond to what the other party has said during the opening session. And I'll also be investigating with you a little bit of the background, of your background, so that I can understand what has brought you here. In order for me to mediate properly, it will be necessary for me to gather some information and background. Those side sessions will be held separately with each party, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer than what one anticipates. Please don't read anything into that. That's simply because it's taking me more time than what I perhaps anticipated to just understand each party's story. You will appreciate that as the mediator, it is not my function to give you legal advice. My function here today is to be in the position of somebody that is completely impartial and independent. I don't know either of you. I'm going to really try and help you to arrive at a solution to this problem, if you possibly can, that you both find acceptable. And the process today, everything that we do today, is governed to create an environment to try and help you to find your own solution. So I'm not going to be taking a decision for you. I'm not going to be finding the solution for you, but I'm going to create an environment that is the most favorable for the two of you to try and find a solution to your own problem that you both find acceptable. And that's very important for you to realize, that I will control the process, but you will be in command of the outcome. It will be your decision ultimately whether or not this matter is resolved here or has to be resolved in another forum. Right, so what is very important, of course, is the agreement to mediate that I circulated to both of you beforehand. Have you both signed the agreement to mediate?
I have, yes.
You
Yes,
have.
I've signed
Clive,
it, yes.
You've signed it too. Right, that agreement to mediate contains all of the essential terms of the mediation, but I'd like to go through what I regard as the most important elements of that agreement with you, just to make sure that you understand. As far as that is concerned, one of the very important items is the issue of confidentiality. These proceedings are completely confidential. That means, Dr. Stanfield and Clive, that anything that is said here today, here during the open session or at any stage, remains confidential, and you are not at liberty to disclose that to anybody. And that's part of your agreement, and you've both agreed to that. That's very important to understand that. And then what is also important to know is that when I go into side session with either of you, what we discuss in those side sessions will also be confidential. So, Dr. Stanfield, anything that you tell me in confidence in a side session remains between the two of us.
Right.
I will not disclose anything that you communicate to me to Clive. And Clive, the same applies to the side session that I have with you. I will not disclose anything that you tell me to Dr. Stanfield, unless, of course, you guys give me a mandate. Because sometimes it is useful, it will be useful for me to take back information that you give me to Doctor, and Doctor for me to take back. But that will be subject to an express mandate. And I will make a note of what you tell me I can take back, and I will only take that back and nothing else. So the reason for these things, these confidentiality stipulations, is so that you can really feel free to tell me what it is that is really worrying you, without being concerned about what happens to that. The other extremely important aspect to the proceedings today is that they are without prejudice. What that means, Doctor and Clive, is that you can make any concession, you can make any admission, and you can reach any interim agreement during the course of the discussions, and those will not bind you in any way until such time as we have a written agreement. So until the written agreement is concluded, nothing that you say, nothing that you concede, nothing that you agree to will bind you. Nobody can refer to it in a court case or an arbitration or anything that happens after today unless we have a signed and sealed agreement. So just remember that. You can make allowances, you can make concessions, and they're not going to bind you until the agreement is signed. Right, another very important element of this mediation, I congratulated you in the beginning because you came here in order to try and mediate your dispute. That was a voluntary step that you took, and these proceedings remain voluntary. That means, Clive and Dr. Stanfield, either of you can leave at any stage. If you're unhappy about how it's going, you're not bound to stay, you can leave. But I would ask you to agree that if you do decide that that's what you want to do, that you spend 5 minutes with me before you actually depart, so that we can see if we can address that difficulty and bring you back to the negotiating table, because it's critically important that we do try and end these proceedings in a manner that you both find acceptable. Can I have your agreement on that?
Yes, I will.
You accept that?
Yeah.
Clive, can I have your
Yes,
agreement on that?
you have my agreement.
You have
on
your
that.
commitment on that. Thank you very much. Right, then we're going to now start with the joint session, and it really doesn't matter who starts the joint session, who goes first and who goes second, but I have this habit of letting the party on my left start, and then when we go into the side sessions to balance matters, I will start then with the person who sits on my right. So Dr. Stanfield, that means that I'm going to ask Clive to first start the joint session,
That's fine.
and then when we go into side sessions, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's fine.
Okay,
Thank you. I'm happy with that too.
thank you very much.